Hello, hello. And today is not over, so I have another topic to talk about. It's going to be again about politics because that's how we started today. So I'm just going to talk about an idea, right? Not specific. I'm going to use specific examples, but I'm not trying to um, basically talk about, one side versus the other or something like this. I want to talk about history and think why things happen as they happen, right? Why bad things happen? Why their people went to wars? Why people, made genocide, etc. Name it, right? So there is more to this subject than people think, right? People consider it to be like they're looking for the specific poison which ruined the public well, right? And public decided that, went basically zombies or berserk and completely went off the rails and went crazy. There is always a reaction and fear which is used to control masses. That fear was used by majority of leaders to get publicity on the same side. I'm going to talk about big examples which people don't think about. For example, in the Middle Ages, there were crusades, right? An idea that from whatever reason something bit the Christians, and all of the Catholic popes, etc., decided that it's a good thing just to rile up all of the poor people and walk to Jerusalem and take it over. Like, it was the idea of like, what exactly is happening? Everybody went crazy. They by moving back and forth, there were like multiple crusades. They walked so many times through the Babylon that Babylon actually developed, paid so much money to try to transition the crusades as fast as possible through the territory. So the economy went down so much that the Babylonian Empire stopped existing. Like, they spent so much time, so much money on commute, basically, to commute crusades, not walk through the country, that they went basically bankrupt. And so the idea was that it happened in a vacuum. Everybody knows it's a terrible thing that happened, but nobody knows why, or nobody thought in depth why it happened. And so if you read the history about, for example, Islam expansion, that happened approximately the same time and spread through the Egyptian area and then crossed through Morocco to current time Spain. It becomes sort of clear that at that time Islam, through few hundred years, they spread across all of the, like, they spread wide across the Middle East and start slowly creeping into Europe. And so the reaction for that fear, the reaction of Muslim coming in, forcefully converting Christians, killing everybody who doesn't want to comply, doing everything possible, making them as example, use the crusades, justify the crusades, and appropriate response from the Vatican at that point, right? And so from that perspective, it sort of start making sense. It was a response, and why people would go. And a lot of people think, oh, they were just poor. That's not the case. There were a lot of royalties which spend time and money. Of course, they wrap it up. A lot of them wrap it up. Oh, I'm doing this for Christ. I'm doing this for religion. But a lot of them had a fear that if Islam is going to spread, they would have to convert to survive, or they will be just completely destroyed, because that's how fast it spread around. And basically it was a response, and as a result it curbed the expansion of Islam, and Europe for the longest time, another half a millennia, were completely Christian region, and Middle East were completely Islam, with some things going back and forth, some country regaining their like native faith, etc., and then keep going back to Islam. So there was a lot of like the Islam actually curved down a lot after that, reaction. So that's what a lot of people call a pendulum swing, right? The pendulum swing in one direction in expansion of Islam, and then pendulum swing in different direction when the Christianity, got some understanding they have power and they have to prophesize, they have to go into all of the other countries, and as a result, the colonies started popping out. Every colonial ship had a priest, which had to convert the native tribe forcefully or not forcefully, depending on the region, to the Christianity, right? Like that was the another Christianity expansion which happened. Luckily for history, Christianity went through the period of enlightenment, which didn't happen to the Islam, but it's because there was no threat from Islam, and Islamic countries sort of fell behind until discovery of oil. Then basically nobody cared about what happening there, right? And so why am I using this as an example to the current times, right? Because similar idea happened in World War II, right? A lot of people are thinking that how could normal German citizen decided that they are they're fine destroying entire ethnicities, right, and justifying occupational war happening through the Europe, right? And so how exactly it was sold to them? The first idea you need to understand that first of all, it was sold to them because they were poor. After First World War, there was a huge economical problem. All of the economical issues, Germany was incredibly in debt. There was a lot of different other countries and corporations owning parts of Germany, and so the Germany wasn't benefiting from them because there was not enough taxing at that point. So a lot of money went out from Germany. The production was detrimental. People didn't have jobs, etc. So there was an economical state which was very beneficial for somebody coming in and nationalizing all of those productions, right? That's one thing. But how exactly you would justify expansion, right? Like you can say, okay, he came in, he just took over the factories. Yeah, okay, he killed a bunch of people who own it. A lot of socialists will say, yeah, give those businessmen what they worth. They exploiting power of proletariat, etc. But not exactly, right? Like they nationalized it and made it work for Nazi Germany. But how would you justify the expansion? And so for the expansion part, the thing which kicked in was actually communism. The response from Germany was that they need to oppose a communistic threat, which was expanding very rapidly at that time. Stalin was sponsoring a bunch of countries, flooding them with cheap food, as tried to convince that see how as soon as the means of production was captured by regular man and by Communist Party, we have an excess which we can send over and export. And look at this. It was a brilliant plan, feeding the masses for free and getting them on your side. And so, but the fear was that by occupying them, they're going to become communist, and as a result, they're going to become poor, and they're going to take over all of the German stuff. And that's where the nationalism kicks in, because now it's not going to be Germans, it's going to be Russians, right? That's going to be Russian production, etc. So the biggest fear actually happened after World War II because half of the Germany was under Russia. Funny enough, right? But the idea was that the driving factor for masses to flipping on expansion was actually propaganda against communism. And if you pull out a lot of a lot of posters at that time, that would exactly try to describe as communism as evil thing that starves people, using Ukrainians as an example and using other countries as an example, and destroying Germany, destroying the German spirit was Russian vodka, etc. So that's pretty much an idea, right? What's happening. And so currently I see the same thing, although from different perspective and not completely different, right? There is this push for left to actually do different things, right? And we can go in list of opening borders, supporting all kind of sexual perversions, supporting all kind of different other stuff, especially in the Pride months, right? Like supporting all of the sexual perversions, which was not natural for the majority of history, and supporting other different things. And so populists were very fine for giving rights to different minorities, trying to feed the poor, etc. That's like an agenda even majority of Christians were fine with, right? Or a lot of conservatives was fine with the idea of like give people freedom, do whatever they want, right? So there was no issue about this. But when some of the people said it's a slippery slope, the response was like, no, you're just bigot. It's not a slippery slope. It's gonna stop. We just need this, and that's it. Like that's where we draw the line. We just need, allow same-sex marriage, for example, right? And that's it. Like we're gonna do whatever we want to do. Just leave us be. Okay, let's decide that was the case, which happened like under Obama almost 10 years ago, right? And so now we talk about all other stuff which was pushed through, right? And the idea was that because left got the power in Europe, in all the modern Western world, through the media, through just holding the offices, etc., that they pushed the progressive agenda, which on its own seems to be fine, right? Depending on what you mean the progress, but they were pushing it to the edge. Every time there was a new issue, every time there was a new thing, every time there was somebody new oppressed, every time there's something else need to be released, let free, allowed, permitted, etc., opened, you name it, right? And a lot of things which left try to implement start to rub against normal people, because now they couldn't actually resonate with all of the agenda. They saw it as like, I don't understand it. It seems to be overstepping the boundary, and I don't like it. And so, as a result, what's happening is actually if you look in Europe right now, right, a lot of right-wing parties are coming into power. Why is that so? That's because the pendulum swing too much left, and now there is an equal response to move all the way right. And so, what I'm afraid about is that like that's exactly how things are happening. That's exactly when the left went too far, and now I'm afraid that we're gonna go all the way right. I'm afraid that this is the historical swing when communists were winning, right, at some point of time, and now we're gonna get another Nazi in different form, one way or another. I don't think that's gonna be Trump. I'm gonna be honest. I do think there's gonna be somebody else, because how much there is a fight against Trump, how much people are still on board with that. Yeah, I don't think he's identified as offended person, as like a Christ, for a lack of a better term, as the person who actually suffered for our sins, right? But I do think that there's going to be a next person who's going to be called, Nazi, who's going to be called Hitler, who's going to be called Satan, whatever you call it, and people will be numb to it. And he will be actually a Nazi, right? Or he'll be actually like very right wing, authoritarian person. And because everyone from the right side was called Nazi, then then you can go as far as you want, and nobody will bat an eye, because that's how everybody was called anyway. So what's the difference, right? And because majority of people don't pay attention, and they they'll be used, that person may use, like, for example, idea of illegal immigrants, idea of getting country, getting the American spirit back, American dream back, etc., to justify other atrocities, or and move all the way back, because people will be fed and try to fight against economic downturn, and that's another part, right? We're seeing economic downturn, so we're seeing ingredients are cooking for this big swing back, and I kind of don't like it. I don't like it. I'm worried about it. I think that we need to be very careful about our language. We need to stop. To be honest, the best thing is to de-escalate. The best thing is for everybody to stop calling each other mean words, to actually return to the better discussion. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't have a lot of hopes. I'm kind of black pilled on that part, but yeah, that's an interesting observation, and I thought that I want to share about this. Hopefully, you stay safe, love each other no matter who thinks what and who believes in what, and it is what it is, guys. Have a good day.